Yo, yo, yo. How y'all doing tonight? It's your boy, Suitman. I'm here. I know a lot of you weren't sure if it was gonna happen, but yeah, I'm on time even. Um, Thank you for tuning in. It's been I don't know, it's been weird. I'm lucky to be alive, right? Uh, that's the biggest one. Um, I'm happy to be here. Many of you may not know exactly what happened or how it happened or what's going on or even if something did happen. You just know that you haven't seen Suitman Productions doing things. You just know that I didn't do Give Love Laugh or I didn't do Santa's Naughty List, or if you're listening to this on the radio, you know that we didn't do our show, right? You haven't heard a new podcast in 3 or 4 weeks. If you're on YouTube, you don't know what happened, but you just know that we haven't done this, right? Well, here's the thing. It wasn't on purpose. Uh, it wasn't by accident. Um, I had a major life-changing event, and wasn't anything I could have hoped for or planned for. It just kind of happened. And tonight I'm going to tell you all about it, the good, the bad, the ugly. If you're gonna grab a pack of Kleenex, now would probably be the time. I promise you, this is gonna be more than you anticipated. There's funny, there's sad, there's good, there's everything in between. And not only that, but now it's all about recovery as well. So, um, yeah, grab your popcorn. If you had questions, if you had comments, and if you had concerns, write them on the video. I'll do my best to respond to some questions and read them as we go, because we will be producing this for radio, so I'll be editing out any cuss words or anything like that. But we've got it all shared. I'm here. Let's do this. So we'll start from the top. My 43rd birthday was on December 14th, and I worked a Kraken game. I went and worked my regular security job in downtown Seattle. I got off early. I was gonna go hang out and thought about even like doing something crazy and going to the after hours. And I really just decided to go home because I knew in my deepest of hearts I had to record Dating with Disabilities the following morning at 8 a.m. And then I think I was planning on having a date. And so everything was planned out. So we get to the day of, and wake up the 15th, and we do a great podcast with Johnny Hags on dating with disabilities, and hang out. I have a date over, and we're having a good time. And next thing you know, I decide to go to the bathroom. And while I'm going to the bathroom, I can't feel my left leg. So I come outside and we're having a good time, right? So the other person who's there with me decides to that they need to use the bathroom as well, and I'm like, okay, no problem, no worries, right? And by the time they come out, I'm sitting on the bed and I can't get up and I can't walk and I can't feel my leg. And luckily I had somebody there with me, so they call the ambulance. And the ambulance shows up and they're asking me all these questions and they're like, "Can you walk? Can you do this? Can you do that?" And I'm like, "No, fucker, obviously not." And so they take my blood pressure, and my blood pressure is 188 over 80 something or damn near 100. And then they're like, "Well, can you get up?" And I'm like, "No, I can't get up." Right? And they're like, "Well, we'll get a wheelchair. We'll pull the wheelchair in. We'll throw you in the wheelchair and we'll get you out of here." So they get me in this wheelchair and they go to take me out. and they're literally about to drag me out by my foot. And I have to tell them, dude, I'm not going to let you move me until we figure out how to support this leg of mine because you're about to tear off every layer of fucking skin if I don't. And so we figure it out. I'm already stressed. They can barely get me out the house. They get me onto the fucking gurney, right? We get into the back of the ambulance and we head to the first hospital. We head to St. Francis. So we get to St. Francis. I'm talking to the guy. I'm admitted. I'm like, this is a hell of a third date. Shout out to Tessa for sticking by me through this whole thing. But I'm like, this is a hell of a third date, right? We're in the fucking ER, right? This is garbage. I'm laughing about it, whatever. We're in the ER. It's 9, 10 o'clock. You know, it's like 8:30, 9 o'clock. It's not that late because I live a couple blocks away. So next thing you know, we go to the ER. They're like, hey, we'll be all right. Just hang out. We're hanging out for a couple hours. We're watching TV. We're falling asleep. Me and my date who came with me, she's hanging out with me in the ER. She's barely met me now. She's known me for 4 fucking days, maybe, right? And we're just having a good old time. I'm having laughs. I don't think it's that big of a deal. So they take me back to do a CAT scan. Now, mind you guys, I've had MRIs and CAT scans before. Remember, I've had my shoulder reattached. I've had my clavicle reattached. I've had my knee done. I've had all these things. So I kind of know when things are going bad. So they give me an MRI with contrast. And then they give me a second one with contrast. And then he decides to do something different that he didn't tell me he was going to do. Now, my MRI is now taking about 40 minutes, and they said it was going to be quick, so I know something's fucking bad. So the doctor comes back, and about 5 or 10 minutes later, we're sitting there giggling, having a good time. You know, it's our third date, rubbing noses, thinking everything's great. And the doctor goes, I'm glad you're here. And I looked at the doctor. I said, that's never good news. And she said, oh, no, you're right. It's not good news at all, but we're glad you're here. We can definitely fix what's wrong. Now that I'm telling you this story, I remember it being I had a blood clot in my left leg. And they're like, we can go do surgery. We'll do a bypass. Everything will be okay. And I'm freaking out, but it's not really that bad yet, right? Like I get it. It's not that bad. So now they're transporting me to St. Joe's in Tacoma. By now it's like 2 or 3 o'clock. The surgeons will be there at 5. So they're coming in. And so they finally get me set up in a room. And my buddy DK shows up. And the girl Tess is there. And we're sitting there chilling. And they look at her and they're like, well, here, wash him. And I had forgot about this till I talked about it the other day. But now on date 3, I've got somebody giving me a sponge bath already and helping wipe me down because I got to get ready for surgery here in 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 minutes, right? Which is already kind of embarrassing enough. So we're now at the 16th, right, of December. It's early morning. Everything's okay. All we're gonna do is we're gonna go fix this blood clot. We're gonna do a stint. No big deal. If you look on my Facebook, I think you see I posted, "Ah shit, I'm going back for surgery. I'm acting as if everything's gonna be okay. I'm really not in that bad of a mood yet, but I'm like, hey, yeah, I gotta go have heart surgery or something, right? I should be all right. I'm not really that what's the word? Sad. I'm not that really worried yet. I'm just like, hey, I'm about to go back and do the one thing, right? I'm doing the one thing. That's all we're doing. So we're before surgery. This is the 16th, mind you. And I'm awake and I kind of know what's going on. and I'm just sitting there and I'm just like frustrated, right? Because it's been since 3:30 and I'm waiting, I'm waiting, right? And so I'm waiting, and it's like, what's gonna happen? What are they gonna do, right? So they said it was aortic dissection. They found the blood clot. The femoral bypass should be the thing, right? So you see, it's on December 17th. I'm posting, hey, should be headed back shortly for heart surgery. I've been here since 3:30 a.m., right? I'm frustrated, I'm frustrated, I'm frustrated. Finally, they tell me I've had found the blood clot. We're gonna send you back. I'm frustrated. That's December 17th. So, what they say happened is I went back. My first femoral bypass was a success. They stitch me back up. They throw me in recovery, and I come back out. Here's the problem, though. My heart then decided to explode. And what I mean by that is my dissection got even worse. So when they fixed the femoral artery and took out the clot and made all that go and turned my engine back on, my engine decided to go in overdrive. So now my aortic valve split almost all the way from front to back. So I wake up on the 17th, which I barely remember, and I'm looking over at my dad and he's crying, and I can't figure out what's wrong with him, right? And he's like, I'm sorry, son, this is my fault. And I really don't even know what he's talking about. I'm just looking at him like, okay, whatever, dude. Like, what do you mean? You know what I'm saying? So he's like, your cousin Debbie's mom almost died from this. I guess it's hereditary. And I still don't even know what he's talking about, right? So I don't remember anything. I remember kind of getting pulled out, kind of not getting pulled out. Now, mind you, this is on December 17th, right? You'll see on December 17th, I post the next day I post, I'm going back for a second surgery today. Thing is I had like a little bit of consciousness in between surgeries where I was actually up. And if I didn't respond to your messages, I'm sorry, I was overwhelmed. One thing you got to understand about coming out of anesthesia is I didn't have the motor skills, I didn't have the mental skills, I didn't have any of the skills. So next thing you know, I wake up on the 23rd of December, almost a full week after I've been in the hospital. It isn't until the next day when it's Christmas Eve that I figure out that I've been there for 7 days and I only remember one of them. Everything I'm telling you now, I actually didn't start remembering until I got home on the 29th and pieced together by talking to everybody about what happened and what they told me happened. But when I wake up on the 23rd, which is the next day you see me on Facebook, all I remember is, oh my God, it's almost Christmas. I actually asked my dad to try to go get my computer so I can record the show Give Love Laugh. I'm stressed out because I forgot about doing Santa's naughty list the day earlier. I'm stressed out because I've, in between then, in the blur, I've canceled sporting event games, I've canceled my bookings, I've canceled all these things. So I wake up now on the 23rd and I'm groggy and I'm out of it and I can't fucking move. I can barely move to the left. I can barely move to the right. I can't lift my chest without anybody's help. I can't flex my chest muscles. And they come in and they tell me I've had open heart surgery. And I break down and cry. Because I didn't come in here for open heart surgery. I came in here because my leg didn't work. They look at me, they go, Mr. Barnett, your life is going to change, has changed for the rest of your life. You are lucky to be alive. Now, mind you, I don't hear the open heart surgery part. I don't remember the femoral artery part. I don't really remember anything. I just know that it feels like I've got an elephant on my chest. I'm in a hospital where I don't know anybody, and nobody's here but me. Luckily for me, at the time, my dad, Damon Barnett, decided to stay. Pretty sure if he wouldn't have stayed, I would have died because I can remember in between surgeries fading in and out that first night and telling my dad, if he leaves, I will leave. If I don't have somebody holding my hand telling me they're there for me, I would have probably died. It was the scariest fucking thing I think I've ever been through. But then we have the recovery. I wake up, I'm now in ICU. They have what's called sleep deprivation delirium. This shit is scary. Now, the thing you got to think about, and this isn't what people understand, is most people go to ICU and die, right? Most people in ICU are on their last leg. You're not gonna make it, right? Not only that, but it's not a hangout, right? It's not supposed to be somewhere like that. But I've never been in ICU, right? Last time I was in ICU was when my mom died. They say only 40% of people live who've been in the ICU for more than 14 days. 50% for medical patients, 29% for surgical patients. In all cases, the mortality rate is 52%, and 79% of those deaths occur in the first 15 days. That means half the people don't make it, and 80% of people die in their first 2 weeks in ICU, and this is where I'm at. Now I'm seeing ghosts. I'm seeing things crawl. I'm hearing voices. So we make it to Christmas Eve. I get some visitors. I'm having some fun. I'm trying to figure out how am I going to get out for Christmas? And they're like, "You're not getting out for Christmas, sir. You got tubes in your throat. We you had open heart surgery." I still don't know what that means. I don't think I've comprehended I've had femoral surgery as well. Because the thing is not only do I have this shitty chest tattoo, but I also got two scars like a Y on my groin now as well, right? One of which still ain't even sealed to this day. The worst part about the whole endeavor is that since I've been laying there for 6 or 7 or 8 days with a catheter on, my region is about this big. I literally have to pick up my balls to walk. I literally have to pick up my balls to sit down. I'm carrying an extra 20 to 30 pounds just in my region. So Christmas comes. I'm in the hospital. I'm in the ICU. There is no ho ho ho. There is no Santa Claus. Nobody's happy. Nobody's having fun. We're just here. I talked to my nurse. I'm a very clean person, so one of the things I thrive on is being able to shower, shave, my cleanliness. My house is clean. I love to keep a clean house. I just love to be clean. So I talk to these guys. They're like, "Hey, if we can get you to stand up and walk around, we'll let you take a shower." Ooh, a shower? But we got to take out your pacemaker. For those of you who don't know, while you're in the hospital, when they give you a self-made pacemaker, they actually wire you with a couple of speaker wires. Now, mind you, the other thing I didn't tell you about the ICU is if you're in the ICU, you're getting woke up every hour because at least once the hour, that pressurized blood pressure machine is going to come on and so you don't get to sleep 3 or 4 hours at a time. You get to sleep 35 to 40 minutes at a time, which is fucking hell in itself. So I'm cranky. I'm all over the place. It's hard to sleep. I haven't ate this whole time either. But somehow I'm 327 pounds, which definitely is messing with my psyche. It's making me feel fat. Um, all sorts of things. So I've been trying to be tough. I've been trying to be tough. So we sit there and they're like, okay, we got to take out your wires. And I slowly feel her pull out the first wire. And oh God, it is hell. It's the weirdest feeling in the world. And then I slowly feel her pull out the second wire, which part of which might be where these four dots come from, right? And when you look at these four dots, you'll see what I'm talking about. Hold on, right? Let me see what you're looking at. Right? I got four dots here. One here, one here, one here, and one here. So I could literally feel them pulling them out as they go, right? And it's this slow, drawn out process. Now the worst part was is these are finally starting to close up now, right? They were not closed in the hospital. And all you have is a gown on. So anytime there's a draft, anytime there's heat, right? I can feel it attacking my core. And not only can I feel it attacking my core, but for those of you who know me, when I get cold, I shiver. And this is before my chest plate was as good as it is now. So now, anytime I get cold, I'm shivering. And oh, that's even worse. So it's Christmas. They throw two heated blankets on me. I recline back and I am knocked the fuck out. I overload from heat. Next thing you know, my little brother comes in. He's got a birthday present for me. My dad's there as well. I'm overheating. I wake up. The TV's going. They're trying to talk to me. My brother won't stop asking me questions. And mind you, the day before is when I posted about having my breakdown because I finally figured out I my life wasn't going to be the same. I mean, I can't even do even though I'm home alone and nobody's taking care of me and half the people who said they would didn't. Who cares? I'm home. Therefore, I'll figure it out. I know how to take my pills. I wake up when I'm supposed to. I guess if I have a fall, I got to call 911, but outside of that, I'm keeping my shit together. And so I'm sitting there and I'm overwhelmed, and my nurse finally looks at me and goes, "Hey man, are you overwhelmed?" I'm like, "Yeah, a lot." He's like, "I can tell." So he tells my brother to leave. He tells my dad to leave. Just it's just too much for me. And I'm just like, dude, I couldn't even verbalize my feelings. I didn't know how or what to say. I knew what I wanted to say. I just couldn't figure it out. And then I wanted to say stuff, but I didn't have the energy to say it. So we kick everybody out. I get some time alone. I go take a shower. I told my friends, Mark Sanders came to see me. I was like, I just want to take a shower and sing Lady in Red. And so guess what I did? Took out my phone, turned on There's Nobody Here. It's just you and me. Where I wanna be. Now, mind you, I got up and I had walked around, but this was monumentous. I got to take a shower alone. They do not let you do that in ICU usually. People are not strong enough to get up and take a shower. I got up on my own. I decided to take my shower. I decided I was going to get out the ICU. So then I told him, I need to know what you need me to do to get out here, and I will do it. So 12:26 comes. I've got up. I've done my walk. I've taken a shower again on my own accord, which shocks everybody that I'm even fucking showering. And the guy comes by and goes, Barnett, you're eligible for the main floor. I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, we want to upgrade you to B. Get you out of ICU. You're causing trouble. You're loud. You're singing. You're showering. Let's get you the fuck out of here. All we need to do is get your tubes out. Now, I don't know who here's ever had tubes taken out, but that is the weirdest fucking thing. Because what I didn't know is I was actually intubated this whole time. And if you don't know what intubated means, that means that's where they put a medical procedure where they put a tube is inserted through your trachea, through your mouth, or your nose. In my case, they just put it in my chest since they already had my chest open. So now they had to do a little incision to take it back out and do all these different things just so I could get intubated and move to regular room. Now, here's the funny part. Um, while we're doing all this, my balls start peeling because I told you they were the size of each one was about the size of the grapefruit. So now I look like a snake. And so I'd made this pile of skin because I'm just sitting there and it's coming off. And so I'm slowly peeling it off, right? And setting it on my thing. So when they come in to transfer me rooms, the lady goes, oh, let me help you with this and picks it up. And I go, you know, that's my ball skin, right? And her face just drops. And I go, that's why you don't go into somebody's room and just touch shit, right? Like you should probably ask me why I've got a mound of skin sitting there. Where did you get the skin from? Where did the skin come off of? Right? So then I get too good at it, and next thing you know, a little bit too much rips. Now we're bleeding. I say, oh shit, we got to stop. This is going too far. We don't want an infection. Now the best part is they've got me on so much shit. I'm pissing, what'd they say, 3 to 4 liters a day. That's a gallon. And I'm not drinking that much water. I'm just blowing through fluid because my body's got it in me, right? So it's the 26th. Now, mind you, I've had Corday come by. I've had the Chasems come by, Chafees come by, Kenny came by. I had Mark come by. I had Tex come by. Samara come by. Chris Gregory, the fat kid, came by to check on me at this point, and everybody's brought me little snacks. Now, what do I mean by snacks? I'm not a bad person. I know better. I wasn't having them bring me chocolate or anything. I had everybody bringing me cranberry juice. So cran grape, cran watermelon, cran pineapple. Then I had a couple of friends sneak me in a couple of Mountain Dews, but I couldn't. Mountain Dew didn't taste right, so that was a no. Right? So I've got a case of Mountain Dew, but I'm not really drinking. So we get me over to the other room on the 26th. They're like, the great news is that now that you're no longer in ICU, you only have to be checked every 2 or 3 or 4 hours. 4 hours at the most, right? So now you should be able to sleep. You should be able to sleep for 3 or 4 hours at a time, right? You should be able to have a good time. Things are on the up and up. What they didn't tell me is now they were going to try to tell me how to act and live and talk and breathe, which doesn't really work for me in some ways, right? And then my first day there, the food is horrible. Like I didn't know it was just my taste buds are fucked up. But the food is just horrible. Everything's dry. Nothing's got any seasoning, right? So it's the 26th. I'm like, what do I got to do to get out of here? I'm just sitting here staring at a wall, staring at a TV. Like there's more to life than me sitting here. My vitals are good. I'm strong. I'm walking around the whole office. Mind you, every day I'm walking 2 to 3 times a day. I'm getting up, I'm walking because I was told I got to be able to walk. You got to be able to walk. You got to be able to get up on your own. Not only that, but every morning I get up at 5 a.m. and guess what I'm doing? I'm taking my karaoke shower, motherfuckers. I'm singing Lady in Red. I'm singing some Stevie Wonder, like you can't steal my sunshine. So then we have a serious talk. We start talking like, hey man, I really want to get out of here. They're like, well, it's going to take at least another couple of days. We want your kidney functioning to get better. You're still losing a little potassium. Your stuff isn't coming out exactly clear. It's coming out a little pink. So we want to make sure that you're doing good. I said, okay, great, cool. But what do I need to get out of here? They're like, well, we need some bowel movements without a catheter. We need some number twos going on. And I was like, well, it's hard to go number two when you got a catheter in. You know what I mean? Like, how do we get around that? And he's like, well, have you even wanted to really go number two? And I was like, you got me there. You got me there. He's like, well, you got to start eating some food. So let's get you on the Ensure shakes. Now, here's the thing is that when I had my clavicle reattached, I used to go through a case of Ensure shakes like a crackhead because I like the flavor of them. They're not that bad to me. I don't mind drinking them. So for me, I was like, yeah, I can do insurance shakes. I don't care how crappy your food is, whatever. So then we've done a couple of days of this. Then they come in on the 27th and they're like, yeah, we'll get you out of here tomorrow. We'll get your catheter done. We'll get you out of here, whatever. Okay, we're almost out. We got one more day. I'm going to be out on Saturday. You bitches better watch out. I'm going to be working my gig. I'm going to be able to drive a forklift. I have all these expectations on what's going to happen. So then the 28th comes. My doctors come in and they both come in. They have a seat and they go, so we want to talk to you about some things. They go, honestly, we know that you are a miracle. First off, I don't think you know how serious your surgeries were. So can we talk to you about that? And I said, yeah, I've been wondering because when I talked to the guy, he said my open heart surgery was only 2 hours. And if I remember correctly, somewhat that doesn't sound right. You guys said like it was complicated or something like that. And they're like, oh, yeah, it didn't take 2 or 3 hours. It took 9 to 10. I was like, what? They're like, yeah, we're surprised you even made it through recovery. I said, why do you say that? They said, well, usually when we do, let's start off with what we did for you. I said, the first surgery is real simple. We found a blood clot, which happens to a ton of people, or your arteries aren't working properly, or blood's not flowing properly. Happens all the time. And you had a little bit of an aortic, a dissection before that, too, which you kind of knew about, right? But we told you we were going to fix it. Well, your vascular surgeons, they did a wonderful job, hence why you have those scars on your groin. And they got around the blood clot, they got it cleared, they laid you a new artery in your left leg, they zipped across, pulled it across, did what they were supposed to do, sewed you up, right? And then, like a car, they took you out for a test spin, and your artery told them to go to hell. And the rest of your artery, your aorta, I should say, dissected almost fully from the front to the back. He said at that point, we then had to rebuild your whole aorta for the most part. Now the weird part is it's kind of like being in RoboCop. He said we hook you up to a machine that transfers the blood flow from your end of your heart to your body to your brain and cycles blood through. But then we cracked your chest open and rebuilt your heart. Now normally when we do this, it would take 2 to 3 hours, like we said. Unfortunately, yours took 8 to 9, almost 10 hours. We weren't quite sure if you were even going to make it. Honestly, sir, we think that it is a miracle that you're even alive. Now, if you look it up, you Google it, it'll say it typically takes 4 to 6, can be done take up to 8. Mine took 9, almost 10. That means there were 10 hours where my body thought it was going to die. There were 10 hours where my body, its nerve endings, some of my functions probably shut down. Imagine being at a factory and then being like, "We're gonna shut down, everybody. I think we're doing this whole buyout thing. Everybody start packing up your bags. Hey, look, if I don't come back by the end of the day, let's call it a day, right? Because the surgery should have took 2 to 8. If I don't come back by the end of business today, we don't have a job." After 8 hours, my body was like, "We're not coming back." Started packing up shit. My taste buds left, right? My skin, my nerves left, right? My nerves were like, "Man, we don't need to be here. This guy ain't getting up," right? And then that ninth to 10 hour, they put me back together. Now, here's the scary part. That was on the 18th of December. I told them, I don't remember anything till the 23rd. And they go, "Oh, you had a dark time. We had a hard time bringing you back, Mr. Barnett." There were 3 or 4 days there where your body just kind of had to figure out if it wanted to keep going. When I tell you guys I don't care anymore, when I tell you guys I don't want to argue, when I just delete and block, that's why. I'm not supposed to be here. Not only am I not supposed to be here, but if I'm going to be here, I'm going to be here for my purpose, not yours. So both my doctors look at me, they go, "First off, we're surprised you're even up and standing. And then on top of that, we're even more surprised, right, that you're recovering as well as you are." Because I've already went to work, if you don't know, and I've only been home for a week. I can walk around. I get up on my own. I've been doing a whole lot of things on my own. I'm basically taking care of myself on my own. But they're like, "You're our miracle patient. The fact that you even survived is a miracle. And then the fact that we're talking about releasing you back home less than 2 weeks since you've had your surgery is even a miracle in itself." Now, my other surgeon looks at me and goes, "So I got to give you a heads up, man. Food's not going to taste the same." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, a couple years back, he's kind of hard-headed like me, and he went through his own similar thing. Not that he had a quad bypass, but he had to spend a couple weeks in the hospital. And so when he got out, he got home and he sat down and he was like, 'You're going to be out of energy.' He's like, 'It's going to be all you can take to walk from your car to your couch.' He said, the best thing he ever tasted when he first started getting his taste buds back was actually a strawberry. He bit into a strawberry, and oh my God, he could taste the freshness, the brightness, the seeds. He could just, oh my God." So now it's the 28th, and I'm like, "Okay, I get to go home." He's like, "We're gonna take the catheter out. I need you to pee a couple times, right?" So okay. So now here's the funny part. It wasn't until that night that I noticed they shaved me. I'm bald. I've never been bald shaved in my life. These assholes cut off baby hairs. And they didn't get my permission either. And the worst part is since my nerve endings are coming back, the prickliness in my skin and all this stuff coming back causes my skin to go on fire because my nerves aren't used to this. First off, I've never had skin go back down there. I should say hair go back down there because I've never cut my genitalia or trimmed around my genitalia. But secondly, since they've done so much surgery down there and done so many cuts, the nerves themselves have to get used to hair growing back down there. Then I finally ate some food and don't have a catheter in. So I let out my first fart that night. And oh my God, it was the worst thing I'd ever smelled. Well, you can't trust a fart when you're on diuretics. So I try to get to the bathroom and my nurse comes in because she hears me screaming and she goes, "Oh my God." I go, "Oh, you smelled that too?" She goes, "Oh, don't worry. Don't feel bad. It's not the worst." I was like, I definitely didn't want to be the worst. That's not what I was in contention for. That sure does smell god awful, don't it? So we make it through. We've got our day. We come back the next day. It's the 28th or 29th. It's time to go. I've been told, hey, you did your three bowel movements. We're going to have you get out of here. So I get up at 5 o'clock. I do my morning karaoke. And this time, instead of throwing on my gown because I'm tired of it being cold and my testicles have finally gotten almost to the right size so I can fit my regular clothes on, I throw on my sweats and my slides, throw on my hat and my coat, and I go outside for a walk. And I tell my nurses, hey, I'm going for a walk. I'll be back. They say, no problem. One of the nurses catches up to me. I go, can I help you? She says, no, we just got to make sure we're following you. I said, okay, that's fine. She goes, well, what's wrong? I said, nothing's wrong. I just don't want to talk to anybody. I've been cooped up in this hospital for now 14 days, seven of which I can remember, and I just want to walk. I'm ready to go. Ready to ah, spread my wings. So we walk around the corner, and next thing you know, another nurse runs, hey, can I help you? I go, no, no, I got one right here. And no, I don't need your help. And no, I don't want to talk to everybody. I just want to go for my walk. Can you leave me the fuck alone? So then I'm still walking. I've got my nurse follow me. So now they send a male nurse up to her, and he gets in my face and tells me I need to stop. I need to go to my room. I was like, motherfucker, I'm a patient. Here's my thing. When he figures out I'm a patient, it's, well, you need to go back to your room because I said so. And if you don't, I'm going to call security. Now, that is exactly why I deleted each and every one of you motherfuckers that wanted to give me advice. That is exactly why I probably deleted another 2,000 friends since then. Because each a lot of you guys want to argue with me about what's going on with my life, what's going on with my recovery, or what I should be doing. And little do you know, I properly communicate with those who are in charge of my actual care. Little did any of you guys know that I was already approved to be discharged, and I'm told to walk around 3 or 4 times. So when you want to lessen my experience and then tell me I need to listen and do all these different things, you're really fucking gaslighting me. And after dying and coming back, I'm not dealing with that anymore, and I don't recommend anybody else does either. So I go back to my room and I sit down. And then my regular nurses come in and ask me what's going on, and I tell them, and they go, "That's stupid. We tell you to walk around all the time. We've been letting you walk around 3 or 4 times a day with no issues. I don't know why they treated you like that." But yet I still had other people messaging me. The funniest one is one of my people that were in my sports broadcasting union after I decided to block him, then decided to text me and start talking shit. And all I could do was not be like, motherfucker, I will whoop your ass. Because at some point you're disrespecting me. So we go through a whole bunch of rigmarole, and next thing you know, I am out by 1 o'clock. I'm home by 1:30. I'm taking my own pills, and I took my first dab by 1:45. Now, do you know what I found out? I'm not ready to dab. I coughed so damn hard off the littlest little dab. And I was so baked that I just sat there for an hour trying to figure out what the hell was going on. So then I cleaned up my house. I got things going. And then I remembered I forgot to do all these comedy shows. Mind you, now it's a week later. These comedy shows were supposed to be recorded on the 22nd and 23rd. So I reach out to the comments. I try to scramble. I think, hey, maybe we'll do them for New Year's Eve. And then I figure out I don't have any energy yet. So day one, we got up and we had fun and we had all these people over and I had two or three friends come over. So then the next day's back to life. I've got this checked cash. I need to go to the bank. I need to go see my grandpa. I need to tell him what happened. And I just don't have the energy. Not only do I not have the energy, but the realization hits that this is the energy level that I have. That getting out the house for 15 minutes might be all I do today. That the walk from my front door to the car is a workout for me now. That walking all the way down to my mailbox and back in one swoop without pausing is real exercise. And it's not the fact that I don't want to. It's not the fact that I don't have the drive. It's that I just can't. It's the fact that I have to understand that I'm now limited in what I do. If I want to have a big day tomorrow, then that means I can't do shit today. Or now I've got to find a way to balance them. I get to my bank. My bank is full. So I have a seat by the door. Two people go to the teller. The teller's line's finally clear. My banker that knows me starts walking over, and she can't recognize me because I look a little different. And I tell her, "You know who I am. Can you please take him my check?" And she's like, "Why would I take him your check? You can't just take it." I said, "Ma'am, I do not have the energy or the emotional restraint right now. And I do not want to repeat myself. I had open heart surgery, and I need you to take my check over there." And she's like, "Aren't you the one that did?" I said, "Ma'am, I don't want to do this." And I start crying, and I tell her what happened, and she's like, "Oh my God, you just got back from Hawaii." I'm like, "I know. Still plan on moving to Hawaii. But as of last week, I can barely fucking walk or talk. And right now I'm overheating and I just want to get to the car." So we get to the car and my friend decides to drive me to go see my grandpa because I was supposed to pay my grandpa's rent and I got stuck in the hospitals for 2 weeks. So I didn't have that possibility. So we get to where my grandpa's at and he's sitting there and I come in to talk to him. And by now I'm already wore out. Not like I am now where I'm talking and just tired. You can tell I'm sweating and getting tired. But when I get tired, my speech slows down. So now I'm talking like this, and I'm having to take a breath between all my sentences. And so he's got his nurse there, and I've got my lady friend that I just met there. And they've even got a couple other residents sitting at the table. Now, mind you, my grandpa's deaf and blind. Most of you guys know this. So when I tell him the story, he starts to interrupt me because I tell him about the femoral, and he stops and I said, "Grandpa, you got to stop because that's not it." And he goes, "What do you mean that's not it?" I said, "That's the exact problem." And so then I tell him about how I had a femoral bypass and a quad bypass within 24 hours of each other. My grandpa cries. My grandpa wants to give me a hug. I'm like, "Grandpa, you can't hug me right now. You can't squeeze me. You can't do any of those things because if you do, it'll hurt." And not only that, Grandpa, but you know how we always say I'm the slow one? My grandpa's now faster than me at 94 years old. I can't walk fast enough. I don't know who'd win in a race walking across the street, right? Like we are now the same. And I have to explain to my grandpa that he has more energy and more functionality than I do right now. Best part though is now when he wakes up at 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock for breakfast, he can call me like he does now every day because guess what? I got to take 16 pills at 6 in the morning every day. My grandpa cries. We go our separate ways. And all I could think is my grandpa would have never known he was the last one in his family. Somebody would have eventually told him, but he would have never known. He didn't know anything was wrong with me. One day somebody would have came by and be like, "So we got some bad news." And he's, "What do you mean you got some bad news? Dante's gone." I come home. I've been bombarded with people who want answers. There's one person in particular named Nicole who kept telling me how I hadn't responded to her text and I hadn't done this and I hadn't done that. So a couple of nights ago, I decided to tell everybody I was going on a break because I was. I was tired of people thinking I owed them an explanation. I finally had a talk with her and she's like, "Well, why aren't you reading Messenger?" Because I'm not going to read Messenger. What do you want? Well, I'd love to come by and check on you. Okay, call me first. Well, what's your address? I just want, no, you can't have my address. If I feel like having company, I will give it to you when you let me know. Then she's like, "Well, I wanted to talk to your dad anyways because we did that." And I said, "You know what? Never mind. We're not doing this at all." And then there was the straw that finally broke my back. Friday, I get a text from Lisa Waltz saying, "Hey, how you doing?" Initially, my mind does not know who Lisa Waltz is. Then I look at the message and I remember, oh God, I haven't been on the radio in 3 weeks. I haven't edited a podcast. I haven't told anybody what happened. We haven't done anything. She doesn't even know. She's not on Facebook. She's not on Instagram. She's not on any of those kind of platforms to even know what happened. And I start bawling. I'm bawling because not only have I forgotten I was supposed to be on the radio, I forgot my responsibility. And there's a whole group of people that have been disappointed and don't even know why. Then I remember I still haven't redone my comedy shows. I missed out on some work between sports broadcasting and stagehand work. I've missed out on a ton of other shit. And I start bawling. I call my radio producer and she goes, "Oh my God." She starts bawling. She goes, "If I would have known all this had happened, I would have definitely sent you something. I'd have called you. But really, I wasn't calling to cancel your show or messaging to cancel your show. I just was worried about you. Because I know you would never go 3 weeks without talking to me. So I knew something was up." It was in that brief moment of reality that I decided to do this interview because it's a way for me to tell everybody on the internet, everybody on the radio, everybody in my real life, and everybody who wants to know what happened. On my terms, not with your nosy questions, not with anybody interrupting, but just telling you what happened. Now, the worst part to my story is it's not over. This is just chapter one. The longest part of this story is going to be my recovery since then. Having the what feels like shingles without shingles, having my skin feel like it's on fire, but it's not. Not having an appetite. Being happy because I got a little bit of a chub. Not even a hard on, just a little bit of a chub. Looking forward to my pubic hair growing back because it's itching and I've never shaved in my life. Right? Writing jokes about what's going on and the perspective you have. And then last but definitely not least, and this is the biggest message I have out of this whole thing is I no longer care. If you want to be negative, I'm just going to delete you. If you want to be combative, I'm just going to delete you. If you don't want to believe in what I'm saying and you want to give me your advice when I don't ask for it, I'm just going to delete you because I don't have the energy for it. Shout out to my buddy Bull Jesse. He gave me a hard time about staying up till 2, so I messaged him about it. I was like, "Hey man, I don't need your criticism." He's like, "I'm not criticizing, I'm just caring." I was like, "But I can't take it right now." Some days it's all I can do to get up and take my pills and just be here and not be sad that I'm just here because I can't work. I can't do my security job. I don't know how I'm going to feel tomorrow and if I still want to do the hockey game. And then I got another game Wednesday. I can't drive, so I'm dealing on public transportations or getting rides. Like, my life is different. That also means those Suitman Productions is going to start doing more online shows. That also means Suitman Productions is dedicated to doing dating with disabilities. That also means we've been thinking about doing a recovery podcast and a weekly Monday and just doing different things because I need to stay motivated and there needs to be more. So we're putting this out. I appreciate everybody who tuned in. This will be on the radio on KMWV 98.3 next Friday. We'll also have this up on our YouTube channel so you guys can watch it, share it, whatever. Like I said, if you'd like to help, I'm not working. I'm not allowed to work. I don't know how long it's going to be, at least 3 to 4 months. So there is a GoFundMe. There is my PayPal. There is my Cash App. I always recommend my Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal so you're not paying that extra 30% for somebody who's just basically managing it, right? And hosting it. You can just send it directly to me. Um, Other than that, I appreciate you all for tuning in. I will be sharing more about my open heart surgery and the recovery from there as we go along. I'm just happy to be alive, and I appreciate you guys listening. Um, Happy New Year. I hope you found some sort of answers. You've got what you needed to know. And Suitman Productions will be back. Have a great day, you guys.